Let's talk multi-day backpacks, as I just got back from 5 days in the Wyoming wilderness, traversing 31 miles with the pack that we're going to be talking about today on my back. The majority of that time, we were above 10,000 feet. Me and my buddies would do this every year. We go on a multi-day backpacking trip. We went over tundra, down mountainsides, bushwhacked, as well as followed trails over mountain passes. And so the pack that I chose to go with for this particular trip was the Deuter AIRCONTACT Core 50 liter plus 10, so a total of 60 liters. And in today's video, of course, I'm going to unpack, what I liked about it, why did I choose it, the good and the bad that I saw throughout this trip. And I also want to address a mindset that I feel like exists in the backpack community that I don't subscribe to. But also I want to touch on the difference between ultralight backpacks, which are super popular right now, versus more heavy duty backpacks, which I would put more in this category, this Deuter, and the benefits and drawbacks to each design to hopefully help you better determine, regardless if it's this series of packs or something else completely different, that you're getting the right type of pack for the right type of adventures you're trying to enjoy. If you're new to the channel, welcome. I'm Aaron. This is Gideonstactical. Let's dive in and have some fun. Now let's address that mindset right out of the gate because it directly affects why I chose a more heavy duty pack. When you get on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, whatever, the majority of videos you're gonna see in people who are going on multi-day backpacking trips is their goal is to go as fast as possible, as far as possible, and bag certain distances. Usually they're trying to traverse some sort of long distance, 300, 400, 100 mile trails. They're trying to do it as quickly and as efficiently as possible, cutting as much weight as possible. That is awesome. That is not how I and my friends and family backpack. We like to go into the high country, go several miles in, but then set up a base camp and then enjoy our time there, having a few luxuries like maybe a camp chair, doing fishing at different lakes and rivers and streams, maybe doing some basic bushcraft, and then from that base camp, hiking up to other locations, doing some bushwhacking, and or going over passes and seeing things from a particular location. Not trying to go from point A to point B as fast and quick as possible. And so you have to ask yourself, are you more of a through hiker and you're just trying to get to point A to point B and that's the fun of it as quickly and easily as possible? Or are you wanting to enjoy yourself in the high country and do different activities that aren't specifically tied to backpacking? And that will determine what type of pack makes more sense for you. Now, because of the way that we do it, my loads tend to be heavier, and I'm a gear tester and a videographer, so I have a lot more gear than the average through hiker that you're gonna see on social media who's just cranking out 20, 30 miles a day. Therefore, I have opted for a heavier pack. This 60 liter pack weighs, with no gear in it, 4.75 pounds, which is about 2.15 kilograms. The reason, though, that I've opted for that is that because of its load-bearing capability. This bag can easily support loads and is designed to handle loads from 33 to 44 pounds of gear before you add on that pack. And when you look at that in comparison to many of those structureless, ultralight, 1.5, 2 pound packs that are out there, you begin to realize that maybe their max weight, support is 25, 30 pounds. And what that means is it is not going to be enjoyable when your gear is starting to weigh a certain amount and get a little bulkier, get a little heavier. And therefore, it's going to be a not enjoyable experience. So make sure to think about what the load capacity of your backpack is more than just the weight of the pack itself. Now, this has aluminum Y frame in it, which sends the weight properly and distributes it through your pack and onto your hips and onto your shoulders in a way that I was very impressed with. So when I hit the trail, my bag weighed 35.2 pounds total. So that means I had about 29 pounds of gear for 5 days in Wyoming. And that included fishing gear, camp chair, all the stuff that I would need, and camera gear, all that stuff. and it was able to carry that type of a load very well. I was super pleased with that performance because of the aluminum frame and because of the overbuilt, very dense hip belt, really distributed the weight well, and the yoke and the shoulder straps being denser than ultralight packs, being able to endure that type of weight up mountain passes and down hills in a way that would have been biting in and digging in if I had gone with an ultralight pack where I was either maxing out its load capacity or surpassing it. Now let's dive into the more detailed aspects of the pack itself. One being the excellent way that they have designed the yoke adjustment with this orange clip right here, which is completely recessed with all of this mesh, getting you away from your gear so it's not going to be digging into you, creating hot spots or anything like that. I can lift this orange tab up, and that allows me to then, I have to do it simultaneously, so I'm holding the camera. There we go. Be able to adjust the yoke and be able to slide up and down, so it makes for extremely quick dialing in an adjustment of this Deuter AIRCONTACT series. And this whole series will come in multiple sizes. Again, this one being a total of 60 liters, 50 plus 10. They have a smaller one, which I believe is 40 plus 10. And then they have larger ones for 65 plus 10 and even 75 plus 10 with different weight load bearing limits and things like that that you can dig into depending on your size. Now, I purposely went with a 60 liter to keep my gear at a certain size and not overextend myself. And, you know, the bigger the bag, the more likely you're going to throw extra crap in there, and then your bag becomes heavier and heavier. Last year, I did a 105 liter bag, and that pack was like 42, 43 pounds, and it was just ridiculous. And I knew that I could not do this for a 31-mile hike in the areas where we were traversing, and so that's why I opted for a smaller sized literage. So the yoke system works really well. They've really designed it with some good attachment points, a sliding sternum strap. Now I prefer like a lock-in tier, so you just lock it in and it's there and it doesn't adjust, but it was easily overlooked because it stayed really where I wanted to most of the time. It has multiple feeder points for not only stuff like Azoleo, you know, satellite comm, SATCOM, which is what I use to message when we're outside of service, or if there's an emergency with an SOS feature connecting to the Iridium satellite network, able to put things like radios. Our Rocky Talkies were very helpful throughout that, as some people would be staying at base camp fishing while other of us would be going up and doing maybe a pass that day, and we could stay in contact. So this gives you a lot of tethering points to also run in, say, your water bladders or your water hoses. Now, one of the nice things that I like about this is that it does have extra large mesh pockets with a reinforced lip and a side pass-through. So if you want to pull your water bottle out, it will allow for that. You could get easily like 2 smart bottles in here. On one side, I opted for a 48-ounce Nalgene with my swig rig so that I could use that and give me more space inside. And this actually has their nano filter, so this was my high-speed water filtration along trail. And then I could put my fishing pole on one side, and then on the other, I was able to fit my 1-pound camp chair. This is an REI FlexLight Air, and then the poles for my 2-pound tent. So I am trying to cut weight wherever possible. It's not like I'm taking up some canvas tent and just like being ridiculous, but there are features, especially like a 1-pound tent, camp chair, that make the experience of backpacking way more enjoyable, that if I was trying to go 100 miles in a week or something like that, I would not be carrying a camp chair because every morning I'm leaving and I'm just on the trail more than I am at camp. And so those pockets though work really well. And actually this one has the cut through, I misspoke, and then this one does not have a pass through. So on the right hand side, you will get that to be able to get a water bottle out if you need to. Compression straps top and bottom, and we'll touch on that because this all the compression straps can be removed, and these side ones down here are long enough so that you can flip it over and run it through some of the back portions right here. And then you can actually strap your tent or sleeping pad to the back end, which is really nice. All of these are removable, these different tethers, and adjustable, and you can put them in different areas. I like that feature a lot. Now, one feature that I don't think is necessary that added to the weight is a sleeping bag compartment. This has zippers down here, really good quality zippers. I believe they're YKK. Yep, YKK zippers. So this compartment down here allows for quick access to your sleeping bag, and there's an actual floor to divide your sleeping bag from the rest of your gear. But all those zippers and compartment panels probably added, I don't know, 7 ounces to the entire bag weight that we could have cut, and I would have appreciated that. It's not necessary. I guess some people would like it, some people won't. Leave a comment which type of person you are when it comes to that right there. Now, another feature that is a must for me is the mesh pocket on the back. I've had a few, most bags do, but I've had a few that do not, and it's always a nightmare, and you're wishing that you had a big mesh pocket. So for me, I was able to put my camp slippers, my sandals right there for when we're around camp, and a few other small items in there because it's a very long, large mesh pocket. Now, as we go along here to the lid, we're gonna have lots of tethering points. They did a really good job with that, so that you could lash different things like solar panels, or even lash a piece of gear to the top with straps or things like that, even your tent, if you're getting a little bit excessive and you're taking your kids maybe or something like that, and you have this smaller bag. Now, you can completely remove the top lid if you wish, and then that would make it about 50 liters, give or take. The collar will extend. It has 2 different cinch points and a secondary compression strap. So again, you can run sleeping pads, tents along here with that compression strap. A very generous lid so that I could get like my poop kit, all my bug sprays, and sunscreen. It does have a key keeper, keep my wallet, keys in there, and several other quick accessible med kit, that type of stuff. Now, the main compartment will have plenty of space to shove gear into, along with a 3-liter hydration sleeve. Now, again, I opt for exterior hydration, like that swig rig. It does have a center port right here, which will easily handle that. And then that sleeve, but that's the only other main like dividers or anything outside of just the floor for, like I talked about, for the sleeping bag. Now, obviously pricing is a factor as well. I bought this pack on a discount. I paid right around $200 for it. MSRP is $240 for this particular literage, and the prices that you'll see kind of floating around with a couple different color combinations usually is between like $200 and say $230. It just kind of depends on who, what, when, where, why. I'll try and have as many links as I can to different options that you can check out in the description box below, and if I can, I'll try and have them popping up as well. But I feel like for around $200, the investment that I put into this, the bag is absolutely being able to carry the clothes, food, and equipment for 5 days for the type of backpacking that I currently do. Again, if I'm gonna go try and bag 100 or 200 miles in a week, this is probably not the pack that I would choose. Maybe, but I would probably opt for something that was lighter weight if at all possible, and probably try to cut another 5 pounds from my load base weight. That's me, that's my mileage. I wanna know from you guys, how do you backpack? And if you're getting into backpacking, which way do you tend to lean? The ultralight, bag the distance and go long distances every day, or get to a location, hang out, have a good time, and have a few luxuries like a camp chair, like fishing gear, so that you can enjoy the scenery where you're going to more than just walking through it. I appreciate you guys hanging with me today. If you have any questions, feel free to leave comments. I'll do my best to respond to them and answer them for you. I hope it's giving you good food for thought on whether or not a more heavy-duty, load-bearing pack makes more sense, or an ultralight pack makes more sense for the way you want to explore. Until next time, check out the other videos, subscribe, and always remember to stay equipped, stay prepared, and I'll see you out there.